facing elimination. The final from Cleveland, Pistons 115, Cavs 94. Cade Cunningham 42 points with a ton of help from his bench. Now let's hear from the experts. CBS Sports NBA analyst Noah Bono and John Gonzalez. Noah, I'll start with you. Only a 3-point lead at the half for the Pistons. Then they entered the final frame up 14, and they never let up. How did Detroit run away with this game in the second half?
Well, hello, Jalen Duren. Welcome to the party. It was nice for him to finally show up. I think he provided such a spark in the first half. And in the second half, when Cade Cunningham really struggled, I don't know how much some of those no calls were actually fouls that he was really upset about. But the bench had 48 points for Detroit, and that was the difference in the game. And, I mean, when you watch up and down, like B-Ball Paul Reed coming in the game, making a difference, mad when he's getting subbed out for Jalen Duren, who, like I said, finally had his coming out party this postseason. And then luckily, you know, JB Bickerstaff pulls him back into the game, takes Tobias Harris out of the games because they wanted to match that double big lineup. I just thought Detroit from top to bottom was completely in sync with one another. And this is now the seventh game they've won this postseason, the sixth game they've won this postseason where they've held their opponent under 101 points. When they do that and when they act like the best defense in the league or the second best behind Oklahoma City, they're hard to beat. And when the bench shows up in that type of way and their defense is clicking in the way it was, that it's really going to be hard for Cleveland to try to win a Game 7 in Detroit.
Yeah, and they closed out a game, right? I mean, they've had some trouble in this series doing that. They could have won Game 3. They should have won Game 5. And then tonight going into the fourth quarter, instead of taking their foot off the gas, they just charged forward. And on a night when, as Noah mentioned, Cade didn't have his best game tonight, basically the Cavs were daring the rest of the Pistons to beat them. Well, that's exactly what happened tonight. Asar Thompson, yes, he fouled out, but he was spectacular. His defense is incredible. He's a big reason why Donovan Mitchell has been kind of MIA over these last couple of games. Dennis Jenkins steps forward. Duncan Robinson comes back and hits 4 threes. Paul Reed, as Noah mentioned, he's been really good. And then, yes, Jalen Duren. Remember in Star Wars, the first Star Wars, where they say Obi-Wan Kenobi, and oh, that's a name I have not heard in a long time. Jalen Duren, I haven't heard that name in forever. He goes for a double-double and really steps forward. So this is the supporting cast that Cade Cunningham has really needed around him. And by the way, the Cavaliers, I mean, this is not only their first loss at home this postseason, they haven't lost at home in forever. The last time they lost at home was in March. This is mid-May. So this was a really big, good win for the Pistons.
Well, Detroit doesn't lose at home in Game 7s. They're 5-0 all-time in franchise history. Going back to that bench production, almost 50 points they dropped. Big numbers coming from guys like Duncan Robinson, who sat out last game with lower back soreness. So what really made the difference for that bench to pave the way in this one?
Yeah, I think overall, like when they are in sync with Cade Cunningham, who really had it clicking in the first half. I keep saying the word clicking because everybody on Detroit was just so in sync. And your back's against the wall like this. They were 3-0 in the elimination games, going down 3-1 to Orlando. And now coming into this one, they understood that role players really do win you games, especially when they have been so reliant on Cade Cunningham. And I thought Cade Cunningham was due for another big-time game. He's averaging 36 points per game in elimination games this postseason. I thought after the first half he was in store for another one. But really what changed the course of the game was their defense. And honestly, there was a couple moments in the first half, in the second quarter, where Detroit was kind of selling themselves short, turning the ball over, unforced errors. Cade Cunningham had 5 first-half turnovers where I thought Detroit actually could have gone up 15, 16, 17 points late in that second quarter, but they ended up letting Cleveland pull it all the way back to 3. But I must say, because I don't know if we'll get to it, Donovan Mitchell was an absolute no-show. And I think that is one of the bigger storylines more than anything that the Detroit Pistons bench did in this game. Was Donovan Mitchell, how many times can you get to the basket and not play off 2 feet and throw it up over a big guy off 1 foot, off balance, out of rhythm, out of control, too fast, too sped up? John said it. Asar Thompson has given him a ton of problems throughout the series, even though he's had some good games. But when your superstar is playing like that, James Harden was good. Like, I thought outside of the turnovers, James Harden was one of their biggest pieces offensively. But when Donovan Mitchell goes 6 for 20 and can't find any rhythm and is not looking to play make can get guys involved. He's just trying to go head down to the basket, take a tough contested three-point shot. That's not going to cut it in the postseason. And, watching this performance from him particular tonight kind of reminded me, oh, yeah, he's never been to a conference finals when he was in the West with Utah and now in the Eastern Conference with the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is a hurdle he hasn't been able to get over. He choked tonight on the biggest stage, straight up.
Yeah, part of it is that he just did not play well, right? And that's on him. But I do come back to Asar Thompson just being lockdown defender, and they're throwing Asar Thompson at Donovan Mitchell, and he used all 6 of his fouls, and Donovan Mitchell just got no easy shots tonight. So if the Cavs want to get past the Pistons in Game 7, he's going to have to be better for sure. But to your original point, Danny, about the bench, I mean, they were just phenomenal tonight. Duncan Robinson coming back, hitting those 4 threes. They need some shooting, right? On this team, shooting is not their forte. He opens up and unlocks a lot of things for the Pistons and spaces the floor. Paul Reed, coming into tonight, we were talking about in the pregame about, do they just go with Paul Reed and take Jalen Duren off the bench or even limit Jalen Duren's minutes? So Paul Reed was still that high energy guy who gave them so much at both ends of the floor. And then Jalen Duren, again, really finally stepping forward for that supporting cast and making something out of this series when he had been completely absent for basically all of the playoffs. This was easily his best game of the series, and we'll see whether or not he can reproduce that in Game 7. But they definitely need him, not just in Game 7, but if they should win that going up against the Knicks. It can't just be the Cade Cunningham show every single night. And tonight, to the credit of the Pistons, it wasn't, right? The bench was phenomenal. They did what they do, which is get into the paint. They dominated the points in the paint, and then they played through their defense. That was another really big thing. Noah mentioned James Harden having a pretty good night. It's a little bit of a mixed bag, though, because he had those 8 turnovers, and it wasn't just him. This has been a problem with the Cavs when they lose games. The turnovers are high, and the Pistons love to turn you over and create offense out of that defense. Tonight, they created 19 turnovers, turned that into 25 points. Huge reason why the Pistons had forced Game 7.
Cavs get one more shot to keep themselves in this thing and play for the Eastern Finals. What is the number one thing when it's all said and done that James Harden, Donovan Mitchell have to hone in on when they get to the Motor City come Sunday?
Your best players got to play their best. I mean, that's what these games come down to, no matter what. And Donovan Mitchell, he's been great in moments in this series. Game 4, when he had the 39-point second half and 43 for the game, he was phenomenal. But when you get into a Game 7, this is when you start counting who has the best players in this series. And Cade Cunningham is the best player in the series. But down the line, you can go. The next 4 best guys in this series are on the Cleveland Cavaliers. When you talk about Mitchell, Harden, Mobley, and even Jared Allen, I don't think that unless Jalen Duren goes back to regular season all-star Jalen Duren, the Cavs have 4 of the 5 best players in this series. They are the deeper team, but Detroit is more physical. They're going to be at home. They've been in a Game 7 already this postseason. Obviously, the Cavs were too. They hosted, but Cleveland being on the road and being in choppy waters where you don't know what you're going to get from James Harden in Game 7 in the postseason. You got no clue what's going to happen there. And then same thing with Donovan Mitchell. It's all you got, season on the line. But I think the upper hand goes to Detroit. The fact that they're playing with confidence and this type of momentum, because when their defense is stifling like that, it does not matter what Cleveland does offensively. It's too overwhelming for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And those guards, James is a little older, Mitchell obviously a little smaller. They're easily overwhelmed. And I just think the Pistons have the momentum right now going into Game 7.
Yeah, for the Cavs, I mean, generally their default position is if 3 of their 4 best guys play well, they generally win. Well, tonight, James Harden, as I said, kind of a mixed bag. Evan Mobley played really well. Jared Allen was fine, and Donovan Mitchell went 6 for 20 from the floor. That's not going to get it done. Those guys really have to step forward. And I've mentioned multiple times as we've been talking about Asar Thompson playing lockdown defense on Donovan Mitchell. That's a credit to Asar Thompson. But Donovan Mitchell is an all-NBA player. You're going to face really great defenders in the NBA all night, every night, basically, because they're going to be keying on Donovan Mitchell. He's got to figure out a way to crack Asar Thompson, because if you don't, then you're probably going home. And they're going to be on the road on this one. And yes, they did win Game 5 in Detroit, but they played 2 playoff series. This is their second series so far. And it took them until Game 5 of this series to finally win a game on the road. So I'm a little dubious about whether or not they can get it done. Their points per game on the road are paltry compared to what they've been able to produce at home tonight, notwithstanding. So that's definitely up against them. And then you've got the Pistons, who have faced elimination multiple times in these playoffs, right? Tonight was their 4th win when facing elimination. Game 7 would be their 5th chance to get a victory facing elimination. By the way, if they pull that off, that would be the second most all-time rather in a single postseason, which would be really remarkable. So yeah, I'm with Noah. Coming into the night, I thought, oh man, the Pistons, they really blew game 5. I'm not feeling this. Cade Cunningham doesn't have any support. How are they going to pull this off? Well, then all of a sudden, the momentum shifts, right? Cade Cunningham has a pretty good game, but not great by his standards. The supporting cast rallies, and they're going back home. Yeah, if I'm the Pistons, I'm feeling pretty good about this one.
And it got a little chippy there between the Cavs and Pistons, so maybe we'll see some more of that in Game 7 with backs against the wall. Thank you so much to Noah and John for breaking it all down here on CBS Sports HQ. The Pistons have been at their best with their backs against the wall this postseason since erasing a 3-1 deficit in the first round against the Magic. Detroit has now won 4 straight when facing elimination. They'll look to make it 5 when they host Cleveland in Game 7 on Sunday. Coming up, we've got full highlights from the Pistons' dominant game.